Mello, thanks for that report. We'll have continuing coverage tonight on News 3 at 11. In the meantime, our team coverage continues with News 3 reporter Brendan Ponton. Brendan, you have been following everything with this special election over the last several months. What do we know about how people voted tonight?
Jessica, well, earlier on I was getting some questions from people about whether or not these results were official or final, and at this point it does appear that they are, and there's really not too many outstanding votes at this point. So it does appear that the yes vote will go on to win here. So this is the new map here. These are the new 11 districts, and I want to point out a big change for our area. It's District 8. It starts all the way up here in Alexandria and then snakes along here and goes down to York County. So York County would be in the same congressional district as Alexandria, which is certainly a change for people in these communities. Now, we can take a look here at the map here on your screen and some of the other changes, including to District 2, which is Virginia Beach and the Eastern Shore and parts of Chesapeake and Suffolk. That is getting more blue. And then District 3, which is represented by Bobby Scott, that is expected to be a safe seat for the Democrats heading into the fall. So we are getting a reaction to all of this, including from the Virginia GOP. They have now conceded in this race, and we did get a statement from House of Delegates GOP leader Terry Kilgore, and he said here that the ballot box was never the final word here. Serious legal questions remain about both the wording of this referendum and the process used to put it before voters. Those questions have not been resolved, and they now move on where they belong, to the courts. We are also hearing from Virginia Governor Abigail Spanberger, and she is telling us that in this case that she was glad that this wound up passing. She says Virginia voters have spoken, and tonight they approved a temporary measure to push back against a president who claims he's entitled to more Republican seats in Congress. She went on to say, I understand the urgency of winning congressional seats as a check on this president, and I look forward to campaigning with candidates across the Commonwealth, working to earn Virginians' trust and their votes, end quote. So again, a lot of questions remain in all of this. The Virginia Supreme Court has been asked to weigh in on the map and the process, but they decided not to weigh in until after this election. So for now, this is the map moving forward for now, but we'll have to see how that court case plays out. Jessica.
Brendan, thank you for breaking that down for us. Our team coverage continues now with political analysts joining me in studio, Dr. Eric Claville from Norfolk State University and Dr. Jesse Richmond from Old Dominion University. All eyes were on Virginia today to see how the Commonwealth would vote on this referendum. They voted yes. It was close, but the yeses won in this regard. Dr. Richmond, I'll start with you. What statement does this send to the nation about what Virginia did tonight?
Well, this says that Virginians were more concerned about answering moves in other states, the national politics, the balance of power, than maintaining the bipartisan redistricting commission districts. The focus was on countering Trump, and Virginia voters did that. I think this sets up a very difficult road for Republicans in their efforts to retain control of the House of Representatives.
Dr. Claville, we heard Galen Knoyton talk about disinformation, misinformation. We saw a lot of messaging with this special election from both sides, those who supported a yes vote, those who supported a no vote. How do you think that impacted the results here tonight?
I think it swayed some voters one way or the other. I witnessed a voter when I early voted that wanted to change their vote because they voted, quote unquote, the wrong way. They believed one message, but it was incorrect based upon their belief. I even had individuals in the community, asking and stopping. Well, what does this actually mean? And even up to the point where they're going into the polls themselves. So it does show that messaging matters, but enough of the messages got through to the voters that wanted to vote the way that they voted. I also believe the turnout statewide showed how important this measure was. It was on the level of gubernatorial level voting when you look at all of the precincts that reported. So it shows that the Commonwealth is locked into not just local politics, but also national politics.
Well, we talk about how this started, right, with President Donald Trump issuing a call to action, really, to Republicans in states to say, hey, you need to do this to favor Republicans. That worked in Texas. We saw that worked in North Carolina. We saw Democrats in Virginia seemingly taking initiative to prevent that from happening here. So what does that say about how Virginians are feeling about President Donald Trump?
Trump is not very popular in Virginia. He hasn't been. He didn't win Virginia either of the 3 times he ran for president. Virginia went for his opponent every time, and his level of popularity hasn't really improved in the state. His margins have gotten worse to some extent, and the polling suggests he remains underwater. That was a problem for those opposing this referendum.
What does this mean for the midterm elections coming up? Our final question to the both of you. We said earlier when we did a special cut-in about the results that we may see some new Democratic candidates in some districts that traditionally leaned Republican say, hey, maybe I have a chance now. Are we going to see some new political stars come out of this?
You will see new faces given the new districts that are drawn. I don't think that the Republicans that were in those former districts, well, those current districts that would now will be former, even if they do run for re-election, I don't think they have a chance of winning. With that being the case, nationwide, this still brings Congress back into balance. So in other words, it balances out the Republican and Democratic seats when it comes to re-election in the midterm, which is why the president asked for more Republican-leaning seats to give him more of an unfair advantage. So it's still equitable across the board. However, when you look at all of the seats, about 30 or 35 are really competitive. Most are considerably Democratic or Republican. But with that being the case, we are seeing upsets in states across the country where Republicans are running and they're being beaten by Democrats in special elections. And it does lean that the Democrats will win Congress back, even with the redistricting as it is now.
We're going to have to pick up the rest of that conversation tonight on News Thread 11 on WTKR. Dr. Richmond, I know you have more you want to say there, so we're going to continue that conversation tonight on News 3 at 11. Our special election coverage also continues online. You can find the latest information on the results on the homepage of WTKR.com.